I'm a little late to the party on this, but I watched the Netflix limited series Baby Reindeer, and I'm not sure I have recovered fully just yet. Struggling comedian Donny Dunn has a warped relationship with his female stalker, and he is ultimately forced to face a deeply buried trauma. So this is based on a true story of writer and performer Richard Gadd. Now, he wrote the series and also stars as Donny Dunn. The basic premise of this is that he is a struggling comedian who shows an act of kindness to a stranger, who then becomes a nightmare stalker. But complicating the matter is that Donny invites a lot of this in, or at least enables a bunch of the dysfunction to happen. And before anybody gets their shorts in a bunch, I am not victim blaming. I mean, this is clearly demonstrated throughout the story, even poignantly expanded on by Donny. This story is harrowing, and I'm incredibly impressed at the bravery Gadd displays to give such an intimate and raw view into his life. I don't think he even pulls any punches because the experiences, traumas, and mistakes that he brings to light can be a bit shocking, but also shows that, dude, I mean, if you told us about all of this, I can't imagine you held back anything short of maybe offing somebody. Now, the emotional tone of this, it's kind of like a dark comedy, interwoven with emotional horror and human drama. Now, each part of the story shows us how Donny goes deeper and deeper into this stalking circle, breaking away and then getting drawn back in. And from an outside perspective, it really is easy to pass judgment on his decisions. I mean, he willingly, or at least knowingly, enters into situations and relationships that he knows are unhealthy and even dangerous. But this show, and Gadd's life story, work to showcase how powerful addiction can be. And for Donny, it's not just one addiction, it's several that are piled onto each other and then compounded to make for a seemingly inescapable circuit of torture and emotional devastation. The acting by Gadd is excellent. There is a moment at the end of the 6th episode that is devastating, but it is delivered in such an honest way that I was riveted and horrified. I mean, the camera is intrusive, which normally would be distracting or a turnoff. But in this instance, and really though, I mean, through so much of the show, that disregard for personal space by the camera, it allows us to see the torment in Donny's eyes. And at times also makes us the unwilling tormentor, where we're culpable for some of what he's experiencing. But it's not just Gadd who turns in an amazing performance. Jessica Gunning, who plays the stalker Martha, and then Nava Mao, who plays Terry, Donny's sometimes partner, they both deliver captivating scenes. Now, Gunning captures an aura that is sometimes shy or awkward and then turns in an instant to sociopathic. I mean, she can transform into a terrifying persona. And while some of it is showcased visually, a lot of it is just attained through voicemails. And they're just as frightening because we get to imagine the looks on her face and the rage in her eyes as she spews the tirade of unabashed hate. Now, Gunning also allows us to see how off Martha is without making her a joke or even making fun of the character. I mean, really, while the series does show how unhinged that she becomes, Donny, he also takes a ton of responsibility for what transpires and for his role in all of the dysfunction. Now, this still allows the story to demonize villains, but it doesn't make light of them or their issues. And then with Nava Mao playing Terry, that is a spectacular performance that illustrates so much strength, bravery, and incredible vulnerability. Now, through this relationship, we get to see Donny wrestle with so many of his thoughts and how they affect his interactions. And Mao displays a ton of empathy and patience, capturing her emotional responses through so many convincing facial expressions and then the looks behind her eyes. Now, this is a tough show to get through, and I would think that if anybody is dealing with any kind of emotional instability, or maybe you have experiences with stalkers or abusers, this could be very triggering. It is a haunting presentation, but through all of that emotional upheaval and the devastation that we get to witness, and sometimes maybe even feel, the storytelling is captivating. I mean, the pacing allows for efficient story movement, but when scenes need to take time to breathe, to feel, the story, it allows for this without any sense of slowness or dragging. There's 7 episodes. Each of them hovers in that 30 to 40-ish minute range. And I'm kind of glad they're not longer episodes because the emotional investment and the toll this has, it can be draining, but I think in a good way. Now, I imagine on some level, this had to be cathartic for Gadd to write, even act out his experiences. But to let all of us into his head and world, that's on an entirely different level. And I think because of the extremely brutal honesty that's conveyed in the narrative, it helps to sympathize with Gadd, but also watch how he was his own worst enemy for so long, leading to the thoughts and the behaviors that were counterproductive to him functioning in a healthy manner. The storytelling is beautiful, with chaotic scenes of elation, joy, sadness, mental self-flagellation, contempt, regret, indulgence, sometimes even hopefulness. And then with inquisitive and intrusive cinematography, we're brought into intimate spaces and allowed to view situations with an unflinching and raw perspective. While this is a difficult series to watch, it's a wonderful mix of haunting and rewarding, thanks to the truthfulness of the storytelling and then the gripping performances. There is sex, nudity, ton of profanity, and then a lot of violence, including sexual assault. I give Baby Reindeer 5 out of 5 couches. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to watch this again, but I am so glad that I decided to see it. Okay, so to quickly transition to something lighter, what movies or shows are you looking forward to seeing in the coming weeks? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.